interesting conversation.
One upgrade is nice, but a double upgrade is amazing. And that's how we do it. Upgrade today to get even more with Step Up. If you're on GoTV Max and upgrade to GoTV Super, you'll get way more with GoTV Super Plus.
It's so cool!
Get big value. Get big entertainment.
Very good.
Perfect! Upgrade and get even more with GoTV.
Man.
GoTV. Love it.
You're welcome back to the show. I've already introduced my guest, and I believe you really want to learn more from her and know what she does beyond being a quiz mistress. We see her every year on our screens, and during these times, I mean, expectations, people are so high, especially the old students, and you usually want to walk away with the bragging rights and all that. But beyond that, what is Professor Kaufmann made up of? You will be wowed by what she's done in the sciences. So it's my privilege one more time to welcome Professor Kaufmann into the studios. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting me, Zoe. I'm happy to be here.
Wow.
Yes.
My first question, people want to know, I mean, how have you kept yourself this young? For someone over 55 or 55 years, you look so beautiful, you look so young. You haven't changed.
Thank you for the compliment. If you look carefully, you'll see some changes. I like to say that I'm older and wiser.
Okay. Older. Okay, in terms of physique.
Oh,
we can't see any difference.
You're not looking carefully. I'm a lot bigger than I used to be.
Really?
But I'm blessed. Honestly, I'm really blessed.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Great to hear. Great to hear that. Thank you so much once again for coming. Now, as I usually do with my guests, we want to know something brief about Professor Kaufmann. You're growing up. Where did you school? Your family? We just want to know a little about you.
All right. So I was born in Accra.
Okay.
Maternity block of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
Wow, specifics.
That's where I was born.
Okay.
My parents were both teachers, so there was a lot of moving around. My earliest memories really come from when we were living in Winneba.
Whoa.
And that's where I started school. I went to ATTC demonstration school. It was my first school. Those days, we didn't have nursery school or anything. Well, at least I didn't go to one of those. My mother was teaching in the classroom, so she would take me along. I'll hide under her table and do my thing. And then I started school properly at ATTC demonstration school in Winneba.
Okay.
From there, my parents moved to Kufuridua. My father became assistant headmaster of Ghana Secondary School, Kufuridua. Yes, so we moved there. And I started Nana Kweku Boateng Experimental School.
Wow.
Yes. It was there that I wrote the common entrance. Actually, I wrote it twice, but the second time, my father allowed me to go, and I went to Ebri Girls Secondary School. It was not a senior high school. It was a secondary school. Yes. So I went to Ebri Girls Secondary School, and I was there for the O-levels. I wrote my O-levels there, and I got a scholarship to leave Ghana. That's how I left Ghana. So I went out to the United World College of the Atlantic as a representative of Ghana at that school. Yes.
And at that time, scholarships were they really common to get a scholarship to go study? Was it?
I don't think so. This was something very unusual.
Wow.
I didn't know anything about it. It was an interesting story, actually. My headmistress, the late Mrs. Joyce Esibe, may she rest in peace, she identified me for this opportunity. So she called me into her office and told me I was going to be taken to Accra from school to go write an exam, and it's for a scholarship.
Wow.
I didn't ask too many questions. I was afraid.
Of headmistresses then.
Yes.
Even now, they are still very.
You see, so I just had to go and do well so that I would make her proud. And that's why I went. And I went to write this exam, a series of interviews. And
were there a
finally,
number of students?
Yes, actually students from all over Ghana.
Wow.
Yes.
And you were chosen?
I was chosen. That year they chose 3 of us. Me to go to the United World College of the Atlantic in Wales, in the UK. The second person went to Canada. And the third person went to the US. And we're there as ambassadors of Ghana at these amazing international schools.
Did you have an understanding of what you had achieved at that time?
It seemed like a dream. You know, I didn't even have a passport then. So to be selected to have this international opportunity, that was something out of their story. You know, the story had been, okay, go to school, do well, you are a science student, go to medical school, become a doctor in Ghana, and live your life in Ghana. Okay. That was a plan. And so suddenly there was this opportunity taking me outside of Ghana.
How did you feel?
Like I mentioned, it was like a dream. But, you know, they talked to us, the panel, I remember the panel that interviewed us. They got us together, they mentioned the names, they said, you 3 are going away to represent us. Go learn as much as possible, come back and make a difference here. And I took it so seriously. And I remember being concerned from time to time, I'm supposed to go back and make a difference. What is that difference going to be? And for some years, I didn't know what that difference was going to be. Yes. So it was a challenge. It was a challenge to get this wonderful opportunity. I felt the heaviness of that responsibility, but it was also very exciting. It was an opportunity to do something different, something new, something unexpected. And I took that opportunity with both hands. Yes.
Your parents being in the academia, or they were teachers?
They were teachers. Yes.
How did they support you in achieving this particular dream?
Well, I would say it had to start from the beginning. My parents were very, very
Were they strict?
interesting. Yes, they were strict.
For teachers?
they were strict. My parents were strict, but also they gave me the best foundation to be able to take advantage of this opportunity. My mother is an amazing woman. She's still around, and I talk to her every day.
Wow.
Yes, she's still around. She was the caring one. She knew something about everything. She still does, you know.
Wow.
And so she guided us, you know, the softer things in life. My father was strict, very principled, and he gave me some of my values: time consciousness, keeping your word. These things I got from him.
Wow.
Yes. And so basically when it was time to go, I felt that they were a little concerned because of my age. I was very young then, just finishing O levels. Yeah. But they also felt they had done enough with me that I could make wise decisions.
Wow.
That I could handle myself out there without them.
That's
Yes.
a lot of trust.
Yes, yes. And I'm so grateful. They allowed me to be. You know, I see parents now, some of them that impose even areas of study on their children.
Right.
My parents were never that way. My father's philosophy was, I believe in education. Education is extremely important. If you learn something, it belongs to you. If I were to give you something which I don't have, I remember him saying this, somebody could take it from you, but if you learn something, it's yours, and you can do whatever you wanted with it. And so I'm going to support you to get an education. That's all I can do for you. I remember him saying this.
All right, we'll continue with your growing up, but very important things you have said here: not imposing things on students. We still have, and there's a case we're dealing with quite recently, where if you do not go to the nursing training college, or if you don't teach, you are not staying in my house. You have to move out. What can parents do better? I mean, the world is moving very fast, and you have to catch up with the times.
Very true. And you know, in all of the years that I have been in my business of educating, I have not seen anybody excel when they are not passionate about what they are doing. Our parents mean well. Parents really, they mean well. They want to settle their children in a comfortable life. And so they look around, what they see is what they will wish for their children. And they want to support their children to be better than what they are, usually. And they mean well. However, life has changed. In fact, the world is changing so fast that it's no longer about whatever training that you went to get in school. It's about the skills that and knowledge that you gain from that training that enables you to solve problems in order for somebody to pay you for those solutions so you can survive, right?
Yeah.
So the world has changed significantly, but many of our parents have not moved along with this, and so they are still imposing. Yes, I'm at the School of Engineering Sciences. Every year I see parents who come in, I want my child to study this, or I want my child to be that, and by all means they have to do it. Sometimes I ask them, okay, what does your child think? Like, no. This is my only child. I wanted to be a medical doctor. I am not a medical doctor, so this child must do it. And I ask to see the young people. And sometimes they have wishes of their own, things that they want to do, goals and aspirations that they have. And you can tell that if they were allowed to do those things, they would excel because they would apply themselves in those directions. So sometimes it just needs a little bit of understanding. It needs a little bit of understanding from the parents, a little bit of trust, a little bit of handling the uncertainties of the future in order to allow our children to be. And I think it helps. And I am forever grateful to my parents for allowing me, because they let me go. They let me out of their sight when I was still quite young. And after that, I went to the university in another country. I went to the US for university.
Okay. Still on
for many years to study something that nobody was doing here in Ghana.
And at that time, what was the communication flow like? Because
those were not the days of mobile phones.
Yes.
Those were not the days of WhatsApp. There was nothing like that. If my parents wanted to talk to me, by this time they had moved to Kumasi.
Okay.
They would have to go to
from
the post.
Koforidua.
Yes, they had moved to Kumasi. Yes. So they would have to go to the post office, stay in a queue, and make a phone call on a landline, and then have my house father and mother find me in the dormitory to come and speak to them on the phone. That's what it used to be like. And I remember my mother would get on the phone, hello, and in 1 or 2 minutes, because it was very expensive, 1 or 2 minutes, my father would be like, okay, it's my turn. They would take turns to speak with me. But it was very rare. Most of the time, though, they were writing to me. We were writing letters back and forth.
Okay.
So I would write a letter, and it would take weeks to get to Ghana, and another few weeks to get a response. So that's how we were communicating in those days. No email. I got my first email in university. Actually, well, among the first to get email.
In the US?
Yes. I was at the University of Pennsylvania, and towards the end of my first year, this was it was in the 80s. It was in the 80s. I went to university in 1988. So around 89, 90, that's when we got our email addresses. But even then I couldn't email my parents, because in Ghana they didn't have an email address.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm just
so in those days, if your parents actually allowed you to go to do international studies somewhere, it was basically trusting you to be able to handle yourself out of their sight and to do the right things, even without them being there to supervise.
Wow.
Yes.
And how was school, University of Pennsylvania? How did you find the studies there? Now you can't compare because you didn't have university education in Ghana.
No, I didn't.
Okay. But now you are teaching in Ghana.
Yes.
At the time, that was in the 80s, into the 90s.
Yes.
And now, definitely there will be some differences, but is there something we could better here?
All right. When I went to university, I had been preparing to go to medical school. And then I found out that if I was going to the US, I couldn't go straight to medical school. I had to do a pre-med program.
Yes.
So I discovered bioengineering by chance. I was reading through the brochures And I saw application of engineering to healthcare. I figured, okay, this is a good program to do before you go to medical school. And so I showed up in engineering school.
Okay.
Yes.
And that has been it.
That has been it. Well, I changed my mind that I wasn't going to medical school because what we were doing was a lot of fun. And why did I decide it was a lot of fun? Because of the way we were being taught. In first year engineering class, this course was Introduction to Bioengineering. We were told that we were supposed to be engineers of the future. We should think 100 years from that time into a future, predict what kind of problem people would be facing in healthcare at the time, and then organize ourselves as a team. So we were working in teams to solve that challenge. And each of us had a role to play. And I enjoyed this course so much that I decided to stay in engineering. Yes. So the way of teaching, although we didn't know any engineering, we were told the importance of what we were doing, the ability to predict problems in the future, the ability to identify and understand such a problem, the ability to participate in solving important problems. Yes.
Wow.
So everything we learned from that time was significant because we were preparing ourselves for that future where we could do all these amazing things.
Yeah.
And that is what, when I came back to Ghana in 2001, and I came to the Department of Physics.
That's a long time to be away.
Yes.
From the 80s to 2001.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I spent 10 years at the University of Pennsylvania alone, getting 3 degrees.
Wow.
And before that, I had been at the United World College of the Atlantic for 2 years. Yes.
So what informed your decision to go on? Because usually after your first degree, master's, if you want to do a PhD, so
okay,
you went through all.
It was all very purposeful. So I told you that when I was leaving, the panel that selected me for this amazing experience told me I should go out there, learn as much as possible, come back home and make a difference. And I also told you that, yes, I kept that. I really meant it, that I would do this. However, I didn't know what that difference was going to be. So when I found myself in engineering school, enjoying this bioengineering, one of those phone calls from my parents, I remember my father being on the phone and says, okay, so what did you say you are studying again? And I said, Daddy, I'm studying bioengineering. He said, what is that? We don't have that here in Ghana. Does that mean you're not coming home? And I said to him, no, Daddy, I'll come home. But after that phone call, everything became clear to me because when he said, we don't have it in Ghana, suddenly it was clear to me that was the difference I was going to make.
Wow.
From that time, I started making certain decisions. The first one that I did was to go as far as possible because how do I bring a discipline that is not in Ghana to Ghana and have people listen to me?
Prof.
I mean, I had to be an expert.
Wow. So I'll let you hold on that. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, you tell us more about your time and how you set up, or you were part of those who set up the Department of Biomedical Engineering.
Yes.
Wow. So we'll take a quick break. And when we come back, Prof will be telling us more. And also we'll delve into a bit about the girl child and education, especially when it comes to the sciences. Now we have a lot of women who are veering or venturing into the sciences, but what can we do to help more young women to enjoy the sciences and the perception that science and maths is very difficult? Prof will be dealing with us. Please stay tuned, we'll be right back.
On February 14th, Valentine's Day, we are about to experience different shades of love. The symphonies of love and high life music will fill the Palms Convention Center, La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. Aquabwa presents Shades of Love Concert. Yes, it's back and here again. Come with your loved ones, family and friends and experience Aquabwa music.
Why you do
It's a romantic evening on Valentine's Day from 7 p.m. prompt. Tickets are selling now for 300 Ghana cedis regular, 500 Ghana VIP, and VVIP going for 750 Ghana cedis. For special table reservations, call 02.
You're welcome back to The Woman in You with Zoe. My name is Zoe Abu-Baidoo, and my guest today is Professor Elsie Effah Kaufmann, and she's the Dean of the School of Engineering Sciences at the University of Ghana. And we've been having really great conversation. She's been talking to us about her upbringing and growing up and how she was able to navigate or move through basically life on her own, living in the United States for a very long time, and how she applied herself to what she is currently doing now. So we'll continue the conversation with when she touched base in Ghana, where was her first port of call when she came, and how she's been able, to bring herself up to, we know her to be the quiz mistress, but there's more to that. And she'll be telling us about what she does and what her field basically is about. But most importantly, to encourage young people out there who want to do anything science related. I think you can pick one or two from her during this conversation. So you still want to stay tuned and listen to what Professor Kaufmann has to tell us. Thanks you so much for staying with us, Prof. So we were talking earlier before we took the break about how you came into Ghana in 2001. And interesting to know that you were the first Ghanaian female full-time physics lecturer.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That 2001.
In 2001.
Which is not too far, even though it's far, but not too far. But how come no woman in the physics department?
Yes, I learned later on that there had been some ladies, two ladies that were, they were international, they were foreign, that had been in the teaching at some point in the very early days. And then, of course, Professor Abba Andam had been there for sabbatical. But she was not full-time, she was a visiting scholar. But I was appointed to the Department of Physics. That was my home department. That's because I was recruited actually by the Vice Chancellor at the time, Professor Ivan Adai-Mensah.
Okay.
He recruited me to help start engineering at University of Ghana.
Wow.
Yes. So when I showed up, you have to get appointed to a department. You can't just come and be a floating lecturer. Okay. And my application did not have any department on there because of my background. There was no medical engineering anywhere in Ghana at the time. And so I just left it blank. And I remember I was told later on that my application went to the medical school, went to mathematics department, went to biochemistry, and also physics. And the Pro-Vice Chancellor at the time, he saw my background in materials, and so he said there's a unit in physics that dealt with materials, the study of materials, solid state physics and materials. So I would belong there, and that's how I was appointed to the Department of Physics.
Okay. When
I got there, it was male professors and then me, looking very young. I have a whole lot of stories around that.
You just want to share challenges. What were the challenges? Or were there?
Yes, there were serious challenges. First thing, it's a strange new environment. I remember the head of department in the first interactions I had with him said, you see, this place is not the US. You can't just give your students a course outline and tell them to go and study. They don't have the books, they don't have anything else, so you need to arrange yourself in a way that you can teach to their understanding. And so I went about doing that. Before that time, I had taught before, just basically as a teaching assistant, supporting my PI when I was a postdoc in a classroom environment. Maximum number of students, 20. Then my very first class in the Department of Physics,
oh my goodness.
We had this lab. It was a G1 lab. It's called the G1 lab. When you get a chance, come to University of Ghana and go and look at it. Sure. This long lab. And it was a first class, of course, so everybody was there. My largest class in physics was 898 students. So all these students were packed into this place.
800?
Yeah. So I raised my head. At first they were giving me a microphone. I was wondering, what do I need a microphone to teach? When I raised my head and saw the sea of faces, I nearly ran out of the place and nearly returned to the US.
That's a lot.
Yes, that's a lot of students. That's a lot of students. That's the first year class. So the first year physics lab. Yes. So there were several challenges associated with that. I would be teaching and then people would be peeping through the windows to check whether I was really a lecturer or was one of the students. I remember I used to keep my door open and some students came around. They said they are looking for Dr. Kaufmann. Is it my father? When is he going to be back? And I said, may I take a message for him? Oh yes. So those were the early days. But these are things that I can laugh about. So I can laugh about those things now. The bigger challenges had to do with surviving in an academic environment with the kind of background that I had and making progress. To be honest, like I said, I was recruited to help start engineering. I really focused on doing that. I was really focused on doing that and trying to do as much as I could. But when engineering started and I moved to engineering, there were only two of us in my department, me and another lecturer. We had to teach the full complement of courses. There were times where I had 6 courses to teach.
No way.
Yes, I would go to class and the students would ask me, it's still you, so which course is this? But to make progress in academia, you also have to do research.
Yes.
And I didn't do any research for some time because up until my students got to final year where they started doing research projects, student projects, I was so focused on the teaching and making sure this baby department survived and all of that. That was the main challenge that I faced, doing something like this. And
how long did it take you to set up the...
Well, when I came in 2001, a committee had been put in place. The Vice Chancellor had kept his word when he was recruiting me. He said he was going to start a committee to do this. The chairman of that committee was the late Professor Alote. So a very high-profile committee. And so making the proposals, that was 2001, 2002. The program was approved in 2003. Then I was on an implementation committee. There were 3 of us to start with on the implementation committee to make sure that we would put everything together and in place to receive students within a year. So the first batch of students arrived in August 2004. Yes.
So that's how long. Do you remember how many students?
There were, I think, 32. Eventually, we had 28 of them, I think, that graduated. But there were initially about 32 students. Yes. In my own department, biomedical engineering, there were 8 students, that pioneering class.
And I'm sure...
Yes. 8 of them, 1 female.
Which will lead...
7 males.
Yes, which will lead me to my next line of questions and conversation about women being in science, the perception that science, I don't know if it's still the perception out there for a lot of parents, but you have a lot of women venturing into sciences now. But the numbers are not encouraging. How can we tackle this? How can we work this out?
All right. So this is very close to my heart. I told you I started from the Department of Physics. Yeah. It was the same thing, the underrepresentation. When I went to class, I could count on my finger the number of young ladies in my classes. And then engineering. But we have made a lot of progress. If you look at the biological sciences, if you look at the medical sciences, life sciences in general, and you were to consider the females in there, we are now basically at par, if sometimes even more women. So a lot of progress has been made in certain disciplines. But when it comes to engineering, the mathematical sciences, computational sciences, computer science, we still have this problem, right? Okay, what are some of the... I've spent actually my whole working life on this problem, doing activities that will help change the story. And some of it is helping, right? Okay, so basically, first thing is visibility, right? If you are a young lady trying to decide what to do, you happen to have some interest for the sciences, but you have not seen any other woman doing it. It's very hard to see. Yes, it's hard to see yourself in such a discipline. And even if you entered, because now we get women entering these areas, but you feel like you don't belong, you will not stay. Right? So that is one of the biggest challenges which I have been trying to address. You know, an interview like this is one way in which I do that. Just projecting myself as somebody who is normal, hopefully I'm normal, but still able to get into the sciences and survive there, right? I am an engineer, I'm okay. So it's possible to do it. So that's the story I tell. I use myself as a case study when I'm talking to the young ladies, and I talk to young ladies, girls, women, anybody who will listen, all levels, to try and explain this and use myself as an example. Then expectations, you know, even what the teachers are doing, very, very important. If you have a teacher that doesn't have any faith in you or your ability to do what you say you want to do,
that's true,
they're not going to go anywhere. So we also talk to teachers to help them to identify some of these interests that our young people have and nurture those interests. Don't just cut somebody off just like that, right? And even the way in which we teach the subjects.
Right. That's another important thing, because there are some of my science subjects I didn't really enjoy. I'm sure it's because of the way it was taught.
Exactly. The way in which we teach also turns some young ladies off. So a lot of research has been done to try and understand these dynamics and some of the factors that lead to difficulty for the young ladies. We know them. We just need to keep working at this. Let me share with you that engineering, I told you my class, my first class of 8 students, 7 males, 1 female. That was our ratio, and for a long time it kept being that way. But with all the visibility, you know, encouragement, programs to support the women to be able to integrate into our environment and so on, we have different stories to tell now.
Wow.
We are above 31% female in engineering currently. Yes.
That's encouraging.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my last class, undergraduate class last year, 3rd year biomedical engineering, we had a 50-50 split.
Wow.
In that class. Biomedical engineering usually is more friendly than some of the other types of engineering. Yes. Things are improving, but it takes effort and it takes time. Yes.
Will you say that we have to do better, maybe from the basic level, in helping people understand what some of these courses are and what it entails, so that if you have any interest, it should peak when you are very young? Because usually you have to wait till secondary school. Even secondary school, we don't really have career guidance.
Yeah, it's already late in our system too, because you know we pick our subjects from junior high school.
Yes.
So by the time you hit senior high school, you are kind of set on a certain path.
Yes.
Right? And so the activity has to happen before the junior high school. And I'm happy to say that's what my foundation is doing.
Okay.
I have a foundation, the Elsie Effah Kaufmann Foundation. What I'm trying to do is to try and get these subjects to be as exciting as possible. So the traditional way that we have been teaching these sciences and mathematics, oh dear, we found something out. Some teachers have been teaching for years, 10 years plus. And do you know how they're teaching the science? They go to the board, they write things, their learners are copying them. That's the way they teach, or they go and dictate notes in class. How can anyone get excited about science this way? Yeah. So what we are trying to do is to change the way the subjects are taught. I have partnered with DEX Technology, and what they are doing locally. Yes. Can you believe in Ghana? That's another plus to this, because if you see the local people, your own people like you, that are capable of doing something like this, you also get excited. So they are producing tools for us to use in the classroom. You don't need to build a fancy lab before you can use them, but these are tools for the suggested programs in our own curriculum, right? Packaged in a way that makes it possible for a teacher So we train the teachers so they have the confidence to be able to go into class and do these things. If you were taught in a certain way, you're likely to repeat the same thing. But we want to break the habit. So we give them the training so that they are able to go to class. The young people, can you imagine the excitement in class when they are doing practical activities? It makes them have confidence that they can also enjoy, like I mentioned when I went to university.
Yes.
And I can be part of something big. The people that are changing the world, I'm going to be part because I'm studying these subjects that make it possible for me to do that. That is what we are trying to bring into our classrooms now.
So usually with your foundation, do you move to schools across the country? Can someone come to you or walk to you and say that, okay, this is something I want to do. How can you help me out? How do you go about your activities?
All right. So we have a website. There's a website, and on the website, there's a button to register your school.
Okay.
We started out with a project. My first project I named it Alpha. The project Alpha. Okay. That's a partnership with Dex Technology, and we're looking at private schools.
All right.
Right. So you can go on there and register. We're going to look at the public schools. Along with them, some of them, we haven't yet gone into that, but that's my next big project, which I will tell you about in a moment. Okay, so what the schools do is they register on that website or they call us. If you call, we will put you down. We'll come and talk to you about what it takes, because I don't want to come into your school, you do one activity with the materials I give you, and that's it. I want it to be sustainable. So we have to have some discussions to make sure that the school is going to adopt this new way of teaching, that they will make room on the timetable or even extracurricular for the learners to enjoy these practical activities. And then when we are convinced that you are likely to do it, then we come in, we train the teachers, then we give you enough supplies to start. And then we monitor. We have a platform. So we are monitoring. We are actually giving the schools grades. And the more activities you upload, on the better your scores. So we are monitoring all of this. As I mentioned, we want to extend this to the public schools as well. But I can't afford it. I mean, I'm doing all this on my University of Ghana professor salary. So we need support. So what we are going to do is we are going to call for the general public to support us. You bring your school. Adopt a school. That's what we're going to do. We want individuals to adopt schools. Go adopt your school, inform us, we'll come and do the activities for your school, and then we monitor your school and give you a report. Okay, we already have 2 donors who have done this, so we are going to be going to 6 schools very soon to take care of this. But we will ask for more people to donate in order for us to go to their schools, because others are enjoying. And we need everyone to have the opportunity to enjoy.
Equality, everybody should have access.
Everybody should have access.
All right.
Yes.
Prof, do you have time to rest? Because listening to the things you are talking about, and you with your foundation, with being the dean, do you have time to rest?
It's difficult, but I try. I really do. I try. So there are some weekends I will lock myself in and not go anywhere, because I need that silence, that personal time to relax and rest.
So we'll be right back. Stay tuned. We'll have another conversation, and then I'll just ask her 1 or 2 questions. Riddles, just riddles. The other ones I may not be able to understand the questions, but as for the riddles, at least you can go along and see how the quiz mistress will fare. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Life is a celebration of moments. Big and small.
The sun is scorching, I'm feeling the heat.
With Piva Drink, every moment becomes a refreshing celebration. From the beach to your home, in every corner of your world, Piva Drink adds a burst of refreshment.
Give me Piva cocktail and tangerine.
Celebrate every moment with Piva Drink. Refreshment for every occasion. Piva Drink, a taste you will love.
P for Piva.
This advert is FDA approved.
Thank you for hanging around. This is The Woman in You with Zoe. My name is Zoe Abu-Baidoo, and my guest is the quiz mistress of the National Science and Maths Quiz, Professor Elsie Effah Kaufmann. We've been having really insightful conversation, and we're going to continue. This time I'm going to ask her just a few questions about the National Science and Maths Quiz, and I can imagine the pressure on her when it gets to that period in the year. So, Prof, the National Science and Maths Quiz, there are a lot of stakes in the quiz, though. I mean, even for old students out there.
Yes.
And what kind of pressure, I mean, do you receive when it gets to that time of the year? And now you take it from the quarterfinals.
Yes.
Initially, you used to do everything.
Be involved in all sorts of things.
So now at least it's taking some pressure off you.
Exactly, because with my responsibilities as dean now, there's no way I can spend as much time as I was spending.
Right.
Even then, I still spend significant amount of time to get ready for
the preparation.
Yes, the preparation. It's actually a year-long activity. So it's culminated in the finals that everybody watches, but you have to imagine that we are preparing all year round in order to be able to deliver what you see.
And you usually have consultants?
Yes, they are consultants. They are subject consultants. There are 4 subject consultants, 1 for each subject.
Okay. So
yes.
Biology, physics, chemistry, elective maths.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Wow. And when it comes to the quiz itself, a lot of concern for even me as a young woman is not seeing a lot of women being part of the competition. It's like the mixed schools. Mixed schools, you see, is the men that are, taking part in the competition.
Yes.
Even with the female schools or the girls' schools, they try. They don't get to the finals. I mean, we want to see more. Have you identified anything that seems to be the problem? Usually when it comes to the girls' schools reaching the finals and doing better as we all anticipate they will do.
That is a question we have been trying to answer for years now. The girls' schools don't take the competition as seriously, to be honest. And there are reasons for this. You mentioned that there's very few there are very few young ladies that appear in the finals. First of all, just start with the coaching teams. Even the coaches are male.
Males.
Okay. So if you are in a girls' school and there's a male teacher that is the coach, how much interaction do you think is reasonable? You know, parents are also concerned.
Yes.
If you look at the boys' schools, the coaches sometimes are staying in the same room. They are learning overnight in order to prepare. That would not be acceptable with a girls' school and a male coach, right? Okay, so this is one of the factors that would affect performance. The other thing is, it's a game of strategy. It's not just about technical competence. If it were about technical competence, we would have seen a girls' school win by now.
Yeah, that is another thing. So you see, okay, so somebody from this girls' school is the overall best student in the country, but that person is not even sitting to be a part of the competition.
Exactly, because it takes more than technical competence. It's a game of strategy. So first of all, you need to practice enough. For years, many of the girls' schools would not select their teams until very late.
Right.
The team members have not, worked together long enough to understand the strategies. So, for example, if a question is coming to you, depending on the round, at what stage would you decide that it's okay, let it go? Or at what stage would you go for it? Let's say round 2, where there's deduction. if you understand each other and you already have a strategy, when we are about whatever percentage sure that the answer is correct, we'll go for it. It's not at the time of competition that you're going to decide such things. So you need to be aware of what stage of competition you are. You should have practiced enough to know what to do under different circumstances. And our young ladies in the schools that you're talking about, the girls' schools, I don't think they spend as much time on the competition as the young men when it comes to preparation.
In fact, I know some schools prepare for 3 years. So once you come to first year, they identify who is the national science and math quiz material, and they start grooming you. I know that for some schools. And it's worked for them. So they are almost always in the finals.
There you go. So it doesn't happen overnight. It's a plan that you need to execute.
I hope the headmistresses or facilitators in these girls' schools are listening and will take a cue and, improve, and let's see something.
Yes. Also something to do with personality. You see, at the age that we have these young ladies, they care very much about their image. The young ladies are actually spectacular when they get to that level.
So with the competition, especially the finals, you are accused of bias sometimes.
Oh, isn't just the finals? It's throughout. Anybody
and especially
that
when Abri girls, Abri girls also, sometimes she's giving them questions that are easy to answer. Do you hear some of these comments?
I get comments about all sorts of things, not necessarily Abri girls. My people from Abri girls, usually, I don't even get to meet them these days that I'm in quarterfinals. Unfortunately. But I don't think I am doing anything unusual. But whatever it is I do, somebody will be unhappy. The moment somebody loses, the moment a school loses, it's the quiz mistress that is causing them to lose.
Because she gave them 2 out of 3.
Exactly. Meanwhile, I have heard many ridiculous things. So, for example, there are those who think that I am able to sort the questions at the last moment. When I see where the school is sitting, I can quickly sort the questions and give them the worst one. You see the pace at which the competition is moving. Yeah. It's not possible to sort the questions at that last moment to give somebody a more difficult question. It doesn't happen that way. In fact, the moment you cast your, I think they ballot to sit wherever it is they are sitting. The moment you sit there, your fate is determined, because the question, I number my questions, and I know where I'm going to ask which question where. And so you balloted on Saturday. So I have no interest in supporting any particular school. When I get there, I'm coming to do a professional job. I am there to be impartial. And most of the time, I don't even know the contestants. I don't know them.
So we'll move to the table now, where it will look more of a quiz setting.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Where is my co-contestant?
So, Prof, let's move to...
I will move, but depending on your questions, if I don't feel like answering, I won't.
I know. Usually, I don't have a bell here too. Usually, how many seconds do they have to answer?
Okay. They have 10 seconds to give a response if there are no calculations involved. If there are calculations involved, they have 30 seconds to present the answer.
That's really fast and swift. You have to think on your feet.
Yes, they do very well, don't they?
Wow. They do very, very well. Yes. And I don't envy them at all. At all.
No, but I told you about the benefits. It's very good preparation for life.
So then we need to have, it's all grooming, preparation, public speaking, being confident. And not everybody has that. People are introverted. No matter what you do to them, they will never set up to have be part of a competition or even speak in public. And usually when you have such bright minds, when it gets the riddles, it's the last part of the quiz competition. Yes. And usually you have 44, 41. Then the last riddle. 44, 41.
That thing is very painful.
Oh God, my goodness. It is so painful. And some of the schools, I really want them to, they just snatch it from them. Just the last riddle. I think it happened last year. It happened last year as well. So just ask a few questions Round 4. Round 4. Riddles.
You must be doing prelims or
Prelims.
or what is it called, regionals, because round 4 will not be riddles. Round 5 is riddles.
Round 5. Round 5. Round 5. So
Okay.
this is
so this must be prelims.
Prelims.
Or regional competition.
Okay.
Where they don't it's regionals.
Regionals.
In the regional competitions they don't.
So how
have
many
the
people move
third
from the
round.
regionals to prelims? Do you have that?
Close to 500 schools participate in the regionals, and then by the time we get to the nationals, we are at 100. And last year I think it was 155.
That's a lot.
135.
That's a lot
Yes.
of schools. I mean, because of the attraction it's gaining, a lot of people, a lot of schools want to be seen.
Yes,
and heard.
everybody wants to be part,
a part of it.
Yes.
All right, so I'll try my best.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Do your worst.
Okay, Prof. So this one says, usually, I am a nobody. The moment my partner turns up, I hide him. My partner and I can sometimes exchange our identity. When I am forcibly removed from who I am, my partner may be discovered. My removal from my partner takes a bit of effort and requires heat energy
Hey.
or refrigeration. I come in all forms, but my most familiar and favorite form is the liquid form, which with my partner being in the solid form. I am generic, but water and ethanol can represent me as well.
Solvent.
Wow. You know, when I started, you were like,
Yes.
So at what point did you at what point did you get the answer? What gave the clue?
Actually, all of them are clues. You see that because this is low stakes, I waited until the last.
I see.
So those are part of the strategies, right? Depending on how tense the thing is, you may go at the first clue, somewhere in the middle, or somewhere, or wait until the end.
But what if you
It's
know?
all part of the strategy.
Wow. Well,
Right now, I'm not competing against anyone, so I can wait for all the clues so that we can enjoy the riddle.
But sometimes it's very dangerous when there are two schools who are competing
Yes.
for the ultimate, and you answer at the first clue or
And
riddle,
you don't get it. Yes, then you have. And the consultants, we also play games. Wow. We also play games. Some of them, we want them to get at the first clue, and I will even arrange the riddles in such a way that to bring as much tension as possible.
Wow.
So I know which kind of riddles. Some riddles are meant to be answered after the third clue. Some we want them to get fast, but you don't know which is which is coming.
Okay, so I'll ask another question then.
Goodness.
I am a phenomenon associated with waves. Unlike polarization, I am associated with both longitudinal and transverse waves. I am named for an Austrian physicist who first described me in the 18th century. Astronomers are fond of me because I can tell the speed of stars. If you need to find the speed of a vehicle, I can be of service. If you have ever heard the siren of a speeding ambulance, you undoubtedly have witnessed my occurrence of me. If you still wonder which effect I am, my name starts with D. Who am I?
The Doppler effect.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm the quiz mistress and your cheerleader as well.
If you do that, some schools will attack you.
Oh, wow. Wow, Prof, it's really been fun talking to you. And I'm really impressed. Really impressed. Wow.
Why? Because I can solve high school riddles.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I mean, this is something. So do you go over the questions yourselves?
Oh, yeah,
yourself?
I do. I have to.
Wow.
I have to.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And if you look at our error rate, it's a human thing,
Yes,
right?
yes.
But you look at our error rate, it's so low. You should wonder how much effort somebody is putting to make sure the quality checks.
Wow. That's some good preparation.
Yes, we work very hard to deliver the product.
It's just on a few occasions where you have people challenging. But I mean, it's a lot of work you have put in there. So before we wrap up, I just want you to give your final words to the young lady out there watching you who is confused, wants to do something science related, and it's limited. There are wide options. I'm sure you want to encourage them to even do biomedical engineering. Please speak to the young woman out there.
If you're a young woman and you are interested in studying the sciences, you are interested in studying engineering, you have made the right choice. In spite of what you might be hearing around you, all these things are distractions. If you have interest in it, what you need to do is to focus. It takes time, it takes effort, but it's worth the effort. Find somebody who will encourage you along your journey. Mentorship is very, very important. So find a mentor. Find somebody who will encourage you, somebody who will help you to nurture that dream that you have of a future where you are using your knowledge and your skills to help bring solutions to our many problems, because that is what it is. If you are getting into these disciplines, you'll be part of the people, you'll be one of the people that is shaping the future that we are all going to have. So it's important work. Keep at it. You have supporters like me. Yes, you can do it. If I can do it, so can you. Yeah, so just put the effort into it.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Prof. It was an honor speaking to you.
My pleasure.
All right,
thank you for having me.
Great. So that has been today's episode of The Woman You Knew with Zoe. My name is Zoe Abu-Baidoo. Till we come again with the next episode, do take care and keep watching Channel 1 TV.
Gentlemen, folks and folk, children and children, adults and adults, birds and birds, myself and myself. Welcome to the yearly debate for children. Today we want to know the aloe and the Vera. Which came first?
It is aloe that came first. Vera is nothing without it. Without aloe, Vera would have been a useless, non-existent figment for imagination.
No one in his right mind would think aloe came before Vera. It's the Vera that hatched and nurtured the aloe to become what it is today. Only dumb and unintelligent people like a co-debater don't think otherwise.
What? You call me dumb and unintelligent? You are such a senseless debater. Your family should destroy you.
Call my daughter senseless. Your family should be ashamed of a useless boy like you.
My son is not useless. If you are the kind of adult in your family, I pity the hopeless generation you come from.
I'll take that back.
I'll take it back.
You are the useless. You are the useless.
And that is how a simple debate caused the greatest divide in Kellywood. It was a fight amongst children, families, and the entire village. From that day, all who said the Aloe came first were called Aloe. They chose the color blue and lived with it. All who said the Vera came first were called Vera. They chose the color yellow and lived with it. A border was created and nothing must cross.
Remember not to talk to a Vera today.
Certainly not. As you step out today, remember that the arrows are not good people. Don't go close to them. As we begin this day, remember the laws and keep them. The Veras, they're very violent people. That's why they are our enemies. If you see a Vera or anything belonging to them on your land, remember to blow your whistle.
If you see an arrow belonging to them on your land, blow your whistle.
It is always such a great pleasure to come your way. This is the Upside Down Show, proudly brought to you by Sky Mineral Water. It is your favorite lifestyle show on TV. Ladies and gentlemen, folks and folks, adults and adults, children and children, myself and... now I feel I'm missing somebody. Where is my Nana?
Right here, baby girl. Listen, if you were a Vera, I'll be an Aloe any day.
We'll just mix up, right?
Any day. And we'll heal the world, especially of pimples.
Yeah.
So everyone can be fresh, you understand?
Yes. Today we take you to the cinema, and with everything that happens there, you may want to ask yourself, how does it all come together?
Scene 2, take 5. Video shot of Andy and Josie. Action.
Josie, please, you have to listen to me. I know what it looks like, but it's not what it seems. Please, Josie, you know I love you. You're the only woman I've ever had eyes for. Please, Josie, don't let my foolishness destroy something you've had so hard for. Josie, you know I love you.
Cut.
Yeah, that's good. So maybe if they do a second take without you now,